back to Blissfully Bloom. I'm Victoria LeBlanc, your host, and this podcast was created to empower women to love themselves unconditionally, transform and heal their anxious mindsets, to live a life of bliss. Now, today in this solo episode, I want to talk to y'all about joy and how bringing joy and choosing joy to be in our lives is so invaluable. There are things in your life, right, that you may have different opinions on. There's things that automatically give you a sense of happiness, of excitement, of just bliss. And then there's other things in your life that may make you feel the opposite, that may make you feel a bit tense, a bit anxious, a bit frustrated and angry. Just as an example, think about when you are stuck in traffic, right? If you were to look at a lot of the people around you in their cars, the same facial expression would probably appear. They probably have their eyebrows really scrunched together. They may be yelling or screaming or punching at their car wheel, and that is a sign of frustration, right? That's a sign of anger. This situation that you are in, traffic, is something that you cannot control. You cannot physically move those cars and make them go the speed that you want them to go. They are just going to stay until the traffic subsides and it fades away. I think the thing that may irritate you the most about this situation is you don't know when it's going to happen. You may have this idea that nothing lasts forever, but you just want to know the when. It's like the waiting is the worst part, the anticipation of when it's going to start moving again. And you have two different options in this scenario. You can choose to allow those dark emotions to linger and fester within yourself, or you can choose a different alternative. You can choose joy. In that moment, you can first, don't ignore the fact that you may feel a bit of frustration, you may feel a bit of anger, right? Witness it, acknowledge it. Let that emotion know that you see it, you hear it, send love to it, and then have a little singing session in the car. Do some karaoke by yourself. Put on a song that sparks joy for you. Even play a podcast if you like, or you can listen to an audiobook that maybe you've been trying to listen to but never find the time. Well, here's the time to do it, right here in your car. I mean, this is so easy to be said. It's more challenging to do it in the moment because sometimes we literally forget it. We tune out that positive choice, right? We only hyper focus on what is going on right now and something that may be out of your expectation. You expected to get to your work on time. You expected to get to your friend's party and be the first one there. Your expectations were changed and lost. And it may be sort of an ego thing, right? Your ego is telling you, oh my gosh, what is going on right now? Why is this happening to us? Why is this happening to me? You may be having all of these different questions in your head that may be even stirring up more frustration, more anger. And then the more and more and more that you give into that story, the more that you cling onto it, the harder it is to see something else. The harder it is to see a different perspective of this scenario, of the situation. And I want to give a personal example of mine. I was headed to New Orleans. This was about a month ago for my sister's graduation. I was going to surprise her. And I headed to the airport about maybe an hour and a half earlier than my boarding time. It was a bit on the later side that I intended to get there, but there was some traffic. So I was already a little bit tense when I went to the airport because I had this story going on in my head. What if it takes me forever to get past security and I miss my flight? I mean, all of these really anxious scenarios I was running through my mind. Literally, for the Denver International Airport, you walk in the drop-off doors and you have to go down an elevator to actually see what the line is going to look like for security. Well, I go down, and sure enough, it is literally wrapped to the T all the way down. The line literally takes up the space of the entire room. So I'm like, oh great, oh no, this is gonna be fun, right? Being sarcastic about it. And you know what? I just gotta find the end of this line, just gotta keep walking. So I keep walking. The line ends up swirling around and twisting around another room, another hallway. And I'm like, this is really bad. How worse can it get, right? I keep walking down, and I'm not even kidding you. This line went on for about 10 minutes. I had to keep walking down and down and down, and I thought I was going in circles at this point until I found the end of the line. At this point, I am freaking out. I mean, I just think, I am not gonna make this flight. I know from the looks of this line, it is going to take probably an hour and a half, the time that I set out for myself to get ready to prepare for this flight. It's probably going to take that, probably even more. I was just deciding, should I get out of line to change my flight now? Should I stay in line and chance it? I mean, all of this was going on. And then something came over me, and I was like, I just need a sign right now. I just need a sign, universe, to know that everything is gonna work out, and I am just going to let go right now and just trust that everything is gonna work out and that there's nothing to worry about. I'm going to release my worries and surrender to the universe. So when I did that, and y'all, my sign is a butterfly, okay? My sign is a butterfly. When I did that, I literally looked to my left. There is a butterfly decoration on the side. And then I look down and I see a butterfly tattoo on someone's leg. After that, just a calmness washes over me. I feel so much lighter, and I know that I'm just going to stay in this line. I'm like, no matter what, I know this line is going to move quickly. I don't know what it is, but I know that I'm going to make it to my flight. And probably a few seconds after that, these two guys, they come right behind the line, and they ask me, is this the end of the line? I'm like, yeah. And I don't know what it is, but I just have the biggest smile on my face. I feel a lot more just calmer now because now I have these two guys to talk to. They're going through the same thing. We're talking about when our flights are going to take off, and one guy, he's in the back of the line. He's an hour before me. That makes me feel a little better, but I just scared for him a bit. And I just use this opportunity of waiting in line to connect with some people, right? And we start to joke about it. We just find this opportunity to have some laughs. In a moment when most people would look at this and freak out, maybe even have a panic attack, maybe even run away from the situation and go back home, we decided to look at it differently and shift our perspective. I've never felt so content in my life, and I was even telling the guys about it. I don't know why, but I feel so calm right now, and usually something like this would not make me feel calm at all. And they were like, yeah, I can definitely tell, like, I'm just getting some calming vibes from your energy right now, and it's helping me out because I'm kind of freaking out. Even my decision to change my energy, to shift the way that I thought about it, right? My thoughts were creating my energy. It had an effect on the other people that were surrounding me and to the guys that I was talking to. That is an experience that I will never forget, because like something like that, it's something out of your control. The line, you can't control how fast it's going to move. You can't control the amount of people that is going to be in the airport. And it's going to take a little bit of trust on your end from the universe, trusting that everything is going to work out. And a lot of the times when you spend your energy worrying and fixating on one thing, when actuality, what actually happens is everything works out. You end up going to your plane. You end up maybe even being a bit earlier than you expected to. And the funny thing is, that flight actually ended up being late and being delayed. So that time I was spending worrying, it was for nothing. Here I was running, don't get me wrong. I had about 10 minutes to get there before it was the end of boarding time. And I was running, and then I see the sign. We were delayed, but I was just seeing all of the people going into line, and my face was their face as I was trying to find the end of this line, but it was the same, right? The same look on everyone's face. They looked just hopeless. Just so much power can come from finding different ways to bring in joy to situations that may not be so joyful for you. And the mere act of choosing that, of choosing joy, will raise your vibrations as it did mine. And those frequencies and your energy will illuminate onto other people around you. And it's like a domino effect, right? We worry, right? Worrying is going to happen. And there are times for worrying, right? But then there are other times when worrying really doesn't serve you and it doesn't serve your highest good. But I can bet you that when you choose joy, it's not going to do you any harm. It's only going to do you good. And so one thing that I did, which I think I've heard this from Rachel Hollis, she suggested making a joy list. Coming up with a few things, maybe a list of 10 or more if you can think of more, of the things that truly spark you joy. And even the act of thinking about the things that bring you joy will literally instill the feeling of joy within you. You don't necessarily have to be doing those things, right? And experiencing those things. But let's say in your joy list, you have the beach. And in my case, I don't live near the beach. I am in the middle of the United States. There's no beaches around me. So, and that is in my joy list, by the way, the beach. If I just close my eyes and just visualize myself being at the beach, feeling what it's like to be there, feeling the sand, hearing the ocean waves, then I will feel joy because it's almost like I'm already there. So even think of little joy moments, joy places that you can visualize for yourself to create more joy in your life. And if it's in a place like a public place where you don't feel comfortable closing your eyes, maybe bring something along with you that will help you feel joy. I have some things that I particularly love, and that is the poppets. I love playing with those. Even just a little pocket poppet. That's something really small that you can carry in your pocket and just give you that little ounce of satisfaction as you're waiting. or you can have some headphones to put on, listen to some music that brings you joy. There are just so many things that you can do with this. You can be really creative with it. Your little assignment, your homework assignment today is to create your own joy list. And really be honest with yourself here. What truly sparks you joy? It's not on your list because it's on somebody else's list, right? It's on your list because it truly, genuinely brings you that feeling of happiness that we all look for. And happiness is a universal feeling, but the things that bring someone else happiness is going to be different than what brings you happiness, right? So it's very individualized, it's very unique to you. Things that are going to be on my joy list is going to be different from the things that are on your joy list. And once you have that joy list, be reminded of it, right? How can you implement that list into your day? It's one thing just to have a list, but how are you going to actually play it out and make it come into your reality? Because a list is just a list. You need to find a way to make it work in motion. I hope that this episode brought you some insight today and hopefully inspired you to choose joy more often. As always, I would love to hear your key takeaways of the episode. Make sure to screenshot the episode and tag me on your Instagram stories at blissfully.bloom. And don't forget to leave the podcast a review and subscribe so that you never miss an episode. I will see you in the next one. Bye.